Hello. Let me know if you can hear me. It looks like the mic looks like it's working. I see you on there. Hello. Let me give you that. Oh, hey, Justin. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're here. My Mars archetype is here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So I have the chart here on my phone. So I'll be discussing things based off of this little chart here because I need somebody to get me technologically up to date where I can put some screen sharing on this live video. I don't even know if that's possible or not, but let me make a little adjustment to my screen. There we go. And I'm on the right. All right, here we go. Cool. All right, so welcome. I haven't been on here in, I think it feels like it's been a really long time, but it's probably only been a week. Many things are changing, and let's just see what happens. But I'm really excited to get us into this new moon. The new moon is going to be exact 7:52 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time on the 28th of June, which is tomorrow. It's almost exactly 24 hours from the time I'm doing this recording. So we have enough time to get ready for this. So let's start off by looking at what are the main features. And I always like to start every single time we're looking at the chart of the new moon or the full moon, brief rundown of what this moon cycle, the way the flow goes. So where we are today, since it's 24 hours before the new moon, we're closing out the lunation cycle in Gemini. So the new moon started in Gemini a month ago, and now it's ending. So today, this last little bit of time is the last little bit. It's like ending something. We're finishing the cycle. In the menstruation cycle, for people who are having menstruation cycles, this would be the phase right before it's going to be the bleeding phase. So if you know, either from your own body or from somebody who you love is in this body, then you will know what that's like. The moments before the bleeding phase starts, we seem a little bit tired. We seem a little bit almost like an anxious. It has a little bit of an anxious feeling because we know that this bleeding phase is coming. Did we finish everything we needed to do in this cycle? If you're somebody who's hoping to have a baby, you're wondering, oh, am I going to start the bleeding phase, or is this the signs of pregnancy happening? There's a little tinge of slightly like anxiety in there. Okay, so now when we get to tomorrow and it's sun and moon together, this is the phase that is the same as the bleeding phase. It's not the time to jump out and set the intentions. It's the time to be in the void, in the zero. So actually in Tantra Yoga, when we're looking at the moon phases, phase 0 is a Kali phase. It has to do with complete, you think about that, cleansing of the uterus. There was no fertilization taking place. There's an emptying out, there's some cramping, some contraction, and that's day 0 of the cycle. Day 0 of the moon cycle is the same way. No matter what's happening with our body, what phase your body is in. And something else I wanted to mention is that when we're reading this chart, like I'm going to read this chart to you, it's an overall what's happening in the world. And then we focus to ourselves, like for everyone in the world, sun and moon are joining together at 7 degrees of Cancer. There is a square happening with Jupiter at 7 degrees of Aries. And I'm going to describe to you in a story-like kind of way that I like to read astrology what that could be bringing up for us. That's happening for everybody. Then what you do is you take this storyline and whatever you know about astrology, what feels right for you, then you look at your chart. Where is Cancer on my chart in relation to Aries? It's always going to be a square angle. So say that you have Cancer rising, you're always going to have a square to Aries. And the reason this is, like, if you were able to join for the free classes that I gave on the 4 directions, building a medicine wheel, how to do cleansing and smudging and all of that. If you didn't get access to that, let me know and you can get that for free. In that series of videos, what I showed you is how those 4 directions, it's called the cardinal signs. It is the same as the cardinal signs of astrology. It's the wheel of the year, Cancer being the south direction, Aries was in the east. It's always 90 degrees away from each other. There's always an energy, a tension, a dynamic tension between Cancer and Aries all the time. Now we have Jupiter angling up at 7 degrees of Aries to 7 degrees of Cancer. So this is going to make it different for everybody. And it'll be, you can look at it specifically what's happening for you by seeing where, oh, Irene, yay, by seeing where this is on your chart. All right, so the new moon phase, this day 0, we're not going to be setting intentions. Day 0 is the day that we're going to be really internal. Just like if it was the day 0 of your bleeding, of your cycle, and it's your day 0 bleeding phase, you're going to be really feeling your emotions, looking at everything that took place in the previous lunation, looking at that Gemini moon cycle. What did I try? Who did I meet? Who came back? Everything that happened. I want to show you a book that I have here. I don't really highly recommend it, but it's called Lunar Abundance. And in the book, what they're saying is, like, in this day 0, that we take a, how do you say, like, take a inventory, kind of like this, of everything that took place. What did I like? What did I not like? And then day 0 is just reflection. Then as day 1, you still, that's going to be on Wednesday. You still won't see the moon because day 0 is happening at 7:52 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be even later in the East Coast. So by the time we get to Wednesday, you still won't see a moon. So even on Wednesday, really consider that day 0.5. Then Thursday, Friday, this is the time you're going to start writing some intentions. And what's interesting about this week is that I think it's on I know it's on July 1st. I just don't know if that's Friday or Saturday. Somebody tell me. It's embarrassing. Yes, it is very emotional times, Irene. Yes, we're going to talk about that because of Cancer season, and maybe see what we can figure out about how to allow this emotional energy to move through. Okay, so it's Friday. July 1st is Friday. Friday is the day that we have the perfection of that 90-degree angle between Pluto and Mars. I am very interested in what is going to be coming up. And what I would say for you is to look at your chart and to see what do you have in Capricorn around 27, it could be 26, 27, 28 degrees of Capricorn. And what do you have in Aries? Same, around 26, 27, 28. So that 90-degree angle, just look what you have there. What I would say even is just basically, meaning basic looking at what house is that for you, because this is almost completing that whole medicine wheel of the cardinal directions. The only thing we don't have is something happening in Libra, but because Cancer is being filled with that moon, new moon at 7 degrees, and then we have this challenging 90-degree angle in Capricorn, which is the direction of north. And then we have many things in Aries that are happening. So there's a lot of things that are, I want to say, like concrete, becoming more important and more serious for us. And it's a process. This, like, what happens on the new moon doesn't mean like, oh, that's it. It means that it's showing us that there is this process unfolding. And because that these happening in the cardinal signs, it's like really making us be more serious. So let me tell you just momentarily, if you didn't take that course that's free on the Wheel of the Year and Building a Medicine Wheel, working with the cardinal directions, basic thing to know is that in these cardinal directions, in the east, we have Aries. This is the it's a householder. It's where we are more concrete. It's the equinox. So Aries, east, it's the spring equinox. This is where we're ready to go out. It has a energy of being more direct and more youthful like, but in a way of competitive. Like, I think of like a sweaty teenager who's like sure of what they want to do and they just go out there and do it. And there's also a sense of warrior meaning those who are protecting women and children. They're called the peacekeepers. So this is the ones who will establish a boundary, and they will protect that boundary. That's Aries. It's serious. It's a serious thing. This is the midwives in modern day times. We would say maybe this, like the firefighters or those security guards who are guarding a boundary. Seems pretty serious. Then when we get over to summer, where we are now, this is the cardinal direction of south, cardinal sign of Cancer. This is the primordial waters of fertility, of, what do you say, like this, emotional currency. That emotional currency is what establishes our ability to create and fertilize our lives. I always think immediately of the garden. In Cancer season, we've planted already the summer crops. By the time we get to this Cancer season, the garden is fully in bloom, lots of fertility happening. We're able to eat summer squash and so many things from the garden. Also, this is the mothers. This is where lovers become mothers, okay? Because we just went through spring. Now we move into this, while it is nurturing and there is a lot of abundance of food, somebody to call, no, like this, some place to call home. Call home means I have a place to call home, whether that is I built my own mother within myself, and I know how to mother and tend to my own internal gardens, or that I have a home or a place to go, that I've grown a garden that I can nurture and tend to that garden, which will in turn feed and nurture me. Oh, you're so lucky. Corn should be knee high by the 4th of July. That's great. My corns are only like this big right now. Let's see. Okay, Cancer is in the 12th house. Yeah, so new moon, that's really good. I'm going to come to this part in just a minute. So let me go back over here to that cardinal direction of south. Then I'm going to skip Libra right now because there's nothing in Libra pressing to talk about. But basically, this is that cardinal direction that has to do with, it's the air element, relates to how we relate. And again, it's a householder, cardinal sign. It's setting a precedent for how we do relationships. Aries was setting the precedent for how we do our boundaries, how we establish and protect boundaries. And then the Cancer season, that summer solstice, is this again, how we make it a safe, nurturing place for children and for our product. No, say like when you make your prodigy. So whether that's your safe place for writing your book or growing your garden or raising a child, it's a safe, nurturing space. Very serious. You don't mess with that. In any culture, you do not mess with their boundaries that they've established. You do not mess with the homes and the children or whatever is young and tender. You don't mess with the relationship, somebody else's wife, somebody else's husband. We're not down with OPP. That's never going to be okay. Then see, there's a seriousness with these cardinal directions. Then we get up to the north. You definitely don't mess with the ancestors. And that north direction this is Capricorn right now, where Pluto is. And in that north direction is where our wisdom keepers. You don't mess with them. You just don't. In any culture, any time or place, you just don't mess with them. So there's a seriousness to those directions already as it is. Okay, so looking at Cancer, 7 degrees, the sun and moon are there. When I look at this chart, I swear to you this, I'm like, why is Jupiter exactly at 7 degrees? Why is it's an exact 90-degree angle. So earlier in the morning on Tuesday, you know what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. Early in the morning, Jupiter and Sun will first make that 90-degree angle. After Jupiter and Sun make that 90-degree angle, Venus is making a sextile. Let me see, who is that? Venus has a sextile, I think, with Jupiter. Yes. Wow. Venus moves into a sextile with Jupiter. So let me just keep going. Then we have Moon moving to that 7-degree point, making that 90-degree angle with the Sun. So if you think about this flow of energy, and it's relatively fast. And if you're thinking in the big picture, we call it mundane astrology, looking at nations and the whole world, basically, this movement is happening for all of us. So we might see, I feel like Jupiter is a big deal. It's always a big deal. And because these interactions are happening with Jupiter as the main thing, it can be more like this. Something that I heard, and I don't remember who said this, but I like the imagery of like Jupiter only being able to expand to the point that it reaches Saturn's boundary. I really like that imagery because it does tell you that there's only so much big you can get before the heavy hand of the elder wisdom, before the heavy hand of the grandmothers comes in and says, hey, what are you doing? Is it right for everybody? Is this right for your community? Is this helpful? Does it grow corn? These are the questions that Saturn asks. And if it's not, then we burst the bubble. We pop that. Okay, so Jupiter is making a bigger deal. Like this week, I feel like this whole week, here we are today, only on Monday, this whole week has big stuff happening in it. All right, so let's just focus. Jupiter being known as, I call Jupiter the good king. And this is because this reason here. Pluto is known as like we could call, they say like the lord of the underworld. Just imagine me, you, let's say Justin, me, and Irene. We all are children of whoever this Zeus is. We're all children of this great mighty, okay? And they're like, oh, okay, well, Justin, obviously you're going to the underworld because you got that thing going on. So you go there, you rule this place. It's nothing about his deeds or what he's done or nothing like that. He's just in charge of the underworld. Then Irene is like, okay, you go and be in the celestial. So you're going to go be in the upper world. You're going to be in charge of what's happening in the heavens. Then there's somebody who has to be in the middle world, who's going to be the one to take care of things here, basically, in the middle world. So Jupiter being there, being able, no, how is this? Jupiter actually goes to heaven, Saturn goes to the middle world, Pluto is the underworld. So Jupiter being there in the heaven, Jupiter being there in the heaven is like playing with the ascended masters and just, good fortune, big, jovial. I think of somebody with a lot of gold and they're kind of chubby and they're just, oh, ha, 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 like laughing really big with that big sound, a big presence. Everything is big and it's good. It's good fortune, good luck, good food. Also, there's an expansive energy where Jupiterian people who have a strong connection with Jupiter, can be bigger. They might have overindulgence in sweets, pleasurable things. Jupiter is what they call a benefic, meaning that it has a lot of benefits. So when we're working with Jupiterian energy, it can make a bigger deal out of things. And sometimes that's not good, meaning that if you eat too much food and you got a tummy ache and now you're bloated and you ate it too many times, now you're bigger and you can bend when you want to reach something because you have a roll. Like, not bad. It's not a bad thing, but it can be excessive. So this week, with all the interactions, sextile, Venus and Jupiter in a sextile can be like giving us a feeling to want to overindulge in Venusian things. Venus is by nature very lazy. So the part of us that is Venus, I used to give a lot of talks on my Instagram, and I would just, when I channel Venus, I would just like a sack, and just be laid back, just so soft. And Venus also has to do with the fluids, like Venus, the veins. So there's a fluidity to it. It has to do with also sweetness, sweet and lazy, and open to receive and ready to have more. Also, Jupiter is ready to have more and also knows how to get more, because Jupiter is like that person who goes to the party and knows everybody and has a capacity to get anything they need and anything they want and extra. I used to have a person that I was dating and working with, very Jupiterian, always good luck things happening. We go to eat at a restaurant, they're bringing us so many dishes, so many glasses of wine that we didn't pay for. There, because he had that Jupiter energy, people want to give, and I'm not really sure why. It's like as if he's the wishing well and they just want to keep throwing their coins into the wishing well. So with that sextile between Venus and Jupiter, we may notice that, and then it's like, hey, okay, yes, just because I can keep receiving and I can keep indulging in these beautiful, pleasurable things, you can have the authority to be like, oh, let's not. And in a polite way that feels good, definitely get yours, have your pleasure, have your things, receive, and also be willing to say, like, okay, maybe now let me give it to this other person. This is where if you get an excess and there's excessive things coming to you, feel free to pass that on. I think they call it pay it forward. It's still a blessing. It's such a beautiful blessing. You know what I've been doing lately is with my crystals. I have so many crystals. Look, I just reach over. There's a pile of crystal rings. I can just reach in any direction, and I have so many gemstones. And what I've been doing is every time I go out to nature, I bring a little bag with gemstones in it, and I make an offering back to the earth, and I say some prayers, thank you so much, and then I give it back. So this week will be a really good time for some practices like that, also. Okay, and then looking at the new moon and this Jupiterian energy. So the way that I'm looking at this is that Jupiter is in Aries for all of us and on the world stage. Jupiter is going like this up to I wanted to say it was 9. I'm not sure, but I think it's 9 degrees of Aries. And then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And then it'll go forward and move through. And I think that retrograde starts in, I don't remember. I'm not an ephemeris, but I think that it is in December. Maybe it goes retrograde in October, back into Pisces. And then maybe at the end of December, it goes forward through Aries again. So basically, wherever this is on your chart, Jupiter is giving this expansiveness. Example, I have this in my 12th house. Jupiter is moving through my 12th house. So in that area, I am having this huge push of this dream, that dream, this like so many things that are happening. It's a huge rush of energy in the 12th house. This is happening, okay? This is wherever you have Jupiter, wherever you have Aries around 7 degrees, there is this process that is unfolding, which you can co-relate or you can connect the dots back to 12 years ago. 12 years ago, something was happening that is probably very similar to what's happening now. I met this one teacher. I was studying nutrition and Zen touch and doing holistic body reading. Then as soon as we got Jupiter move into Aries, again, that same mentor came back and we're working together now. So look at your chart and look at the timeline. What happened 12 years ago? This thing is happening for you. Now, when you put the new moon at a 7-degree angle to that story of what's happening in your chart, it's so different now, because now the new moon is in Cancer at 7 degrees, saying that this place is being reborn, that you have a chance to bleed, to release, and then to start over. Right at that 7-degree point. Where is Cancer on your chart? What house is that? Because whatever house that is, this is where you are having a regeneration of something. And now you can see there are these two stories happening, and you can see the relation between them. So this rebirth is happening in the area of your chart, which has to do with how you nurture yourself, has to do with your mothering, the way that you mother yourself. Whatever house that is, there is that, whatever house you have Cancer, there is a flavor of taking care of yourself as the evolved form of Cancer, but there also can be taking care of others is not less evolved. But I feel like the Cancer place on our chart, often we are more focused on taking care of other people. And this is where you learn to be your own mother, taking care of yourself, doing things in a way that is very nurturing. And don't forget about the sexuality, the sensuality of that Cancerian energy. Okay, so we have all that, we see all that, and then we put Jupiter there in a challenging 90-degree angle. This is where excessive things cannot be good. It can be good, and what we want to do here is look at how we can find the best way to work with it. So say you don't care, you're not paying attention to anything I'm saying, you don't care nothing about astrology, that's fine. And now we're going to go back here and say, oh, all these good opportunities are coming up. Jupiter has to do with good opportunities coming up out of nowhere. Good luck, benevolence, good fortune, blessings that seem to come from out of nowhere. It's like somebody just throwing gold coins at you. And then you're trying to start something new over here where the Cancer thing is. And because Cancer is it's very connected to the emotional energy of a thing, the height of empathy, the height of psychic sensitivity. Okay, let me make this, because also Pisces is the height of sensitivity and the height of emotional sensitivity and being able to tune into everything. Pisces is different in that it is for the whole world. Okay. Pisces is psychic and sensitive and has empathy, but it's like there's no dial. It just feels everything. Whereas Cancer, the dial is turned to me, my house, my home, my kids. It's I think of this like America in some ways, like where it's like I only care about my people and my country and my it's like a very only it's a exclusive. And it's beautiful for the love and support. It's like you always have this tight family. I'm not saying America's like that in the sense of having a tight family, but only caring about its own people, that makes sense to the Cancer energy. So that's the difference between Cancer and Pisces. Pisces is for everyone and everything that's dead and everything that's alive and everything in between. Okay, so there's something that you have that you're working to have reborn and to start something new. And I feel like it's very important because it has to do with your home, has to do with your family, and it has to do with your own creativity as far as like fertility, that energy of your own fertility, meaning like that deep emotional water that we all have within us. Now there's that square to Jupiter that's like wanting things to get big and go and just be like in areas that has a fast and furious, make it big. So I can see this challenge being like pushing us to do too much when really what Cancer wants to do. I'm hearing some weird sounds. I'm not sure what's happening out there. Hopefully it's not the dog eating the wall or something, but okay, I hope my landlords aren't watching this. Okay, so yeah, so that Jupiter wanting to blow things up and make it really big, and Cancer wanting to like put the fence around the house. You see what this challenge can be? Aries wants to go big, fast, and furious, and Jupiter is like, and the Cancer new moon wants to be more enclosed. Safety is primary. It's a primary concern for Cancer season and the Cancer lunation cycle. So, we have the sun season started on June 21st with the summer solstice, sun moving into Cancer. If you're going by the sun, that's going to be about a good 30 days. Now, the lunation cycle, which is working our internal refinement, this is starting on the 28th, and we're going to have this moon cycle. So the moon cycle is wanting us to really tend to our internal waters and our own regeneration. The word that I used, reproduction is the word that people say, reproduction. Now we don't say like this anymore, you guys. It's regeneration. In the yard, we're not saying like, oh, let's reproduce our tomatoes. No, because this production is part of capitalism. And with Pluto at that 27-degree point in Capricorn, we're ending that produce and reproduce and just pop out the babies and pop out the GMO seeds, and we're not doing that anymore. Now you will see it's happening. It's like we have to either go more capitalism and more producing and more GMO. But what we're doing here is that we're going more into regenerative. How can I have more like this where it's two ways, and we're sharing energy with the earth, and we're tending to our internal gardens. Cancer new moon wants rest, slow down nervous systems, drinking lots of water, being in the salty ocean water, regeneration of life. So what's going to happen? You guys let me know. How does the new moon, what is getting triggered for you, and how do you take it? Okay, so if you're feeling a big boost of like, oh, I want to, go and do this, and I can't even tell you, I have so many programs that I'm, listing out, and I want to do them all right now. I want to do them all yesterday. But now what we need to do is like, yes, I feel this expansive energy. We want to use it, but to focus one by one. And please remember to hydrate and to tend to your nervous system. So if you start feeling anxious, because that Jupiter in Aries is very anxiety producing, because it's so big and fast and sweaty and competitive and, you know, moving. Okay. Oh my goodness. One more thing I want to tell you. Let's go in. We're look at the Pluto and the Mars 90-degree angle next. This is really important. And I'm going to attempt, I'm not that good at it, but hopefully if I have my little chart, I can tell for everybody. I'm not get good at it means I can't do it by my mind only. I can't see the chart and look and then say, okay, well, if you have your rising sign in Capricorn, then this is what house this is. I am not good at it, but if I have this, I'm going to try. Let's look at some of these comments, and then we'll look at the Pluto thing. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Corn should be beef. Okay, I got Cancer in the 12th house. It feels very icky and overwhelming to me. Okay, so the new moon in your 12th house is going to be, and now let me remind you this, the 12th house I like, because you know this, my thing is called Awaken the Dream School. I have a tea called Awaken the Dream. I have 3 products in my store that are for dreaming, and I take my dreams so serious. I could tell you dreams that I had when I was 7 years old, like in my childhood. I care so, but I have 5 planets in Pisces. Dreaming is like everything to me. The 12th house, like Pisces, like Neptune, while yes, it does have to do with where consciousness bubbles up from. It has to do with your connection to the collective consciousness, why I can dream and I can learn something that Nikola Tesla tells me. I can talk to Albert Einstein, and I could see the ancient temples in Egypt. You know, I love that. And there's a fine line between dreams, fantasies, and delusion, where we can really become untethered from middle world reality. The 12th house reminds me of Stranger Things. I don't know if you guys seen this. I don't watch anything on Netflix, but Stranger Things, when it came out, is when I was first learning to tie the prayer beads. And it was very hard. It took like 4 hours just to make one of these. And my daughter, Jasmine, wanted to sit with me, but she wanted to watch this Stranger Things. And I'm seeing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like so much like the 12th house, which is like there's a whole universe happening and it's right there, but we can't see it, but we can very much sense it. So remember, the 12th house also has to do with insane asylums, because the thin line between dreams, fantasy, imagination, and completely losing your mind. So I can see Cancer 12th house in general might feel, because you're sensitive. Cancer is your empathy. It has the flavor of empathy, psychic abilities, and the sensitivity. So the 12th house, now the new moon can be a good opportunity for you to be, I want to say, like, conscious of that, where maybe you build a dream altar. I love this. I'm telling you, like, working with a dream altar will take your 12th house into a whole new world, because now you have some place that is in the middle world reality to bring your dreams down to that dream altar and take them out of your body and take them out of that ethereal plane. Say if I had a dream about going on a train, but the train's roof was off, I might get a plastic toy train and like rip the roof off, so it's like the one in my dream, and put it on my dream altar. Or I might just write about the dream, put the dream journal on my dream altar. So now there's a place in middle world reality to hold that. this will change so much in your relationship to your 12th house, especially for this new moon. I think Pluto in fourth and my mother wound. I think it's my Pluto in the fourth. Pluto in the fourth. I love somebody who has Pluto in their fourth, and I really worry about that at times, because if I don't talk to him for a while, really like right now, he'll probably watch this video. He knows who I'm talking. He knows I'm talking about him, and what happens is that I won't see him or hear from him. Nothing. And when it goes to this, my inner vision goes straight to that Pluto in the fourth. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what's happening, because I know it can be very hard, and it has to do with your womb, your ancestors, your connection to the land that you come from. And Pluto, and especially right now in Capricorn, it's really doing that work of destabilizing, breaking down things that were keeping you from your true power. So it's very powerful and very good. It just can be very challenging. And a Jupiter conjunct. Okay. Jupiter, 29 degrees. Hey, bro, me too. Justin, I don't know why I'm so surprised right now. I had also, Jupiter was at 29 degrees Cancer when I was born. Okay, 12 years ago, I was 1 year post-divorce and just starting to date. So maybe there's something like that, possibly. Maybe if it's not dating, possibly that energy of, starting to be open to it. This place reborn. Doc, did you just tell me to hydrate? Change your socks, hydrate. And if you have any problems, I got those 800 milligram Motrins for you. Hey, Ayano, I planted so much corn. I'll show you. I'll take pictures. There's every single corn seed that I planted is sprouting. They're like, I don't know if you can see. You can see by my face. They're like this big right now. That was only like maybe 14 days ago. I planted them. So it's new moon now. That was dumb. Did I really plant them on the full moon? I don't think so. I think it was like right after the full moon. North node in the 12th, Neptune, South node in 12th. I want grounding. North node in the 12th. You have North node, Neptune, and you also have Cancer. Okay, 12th is in the sign of Cancer. You have Neptune. I'm sorry, that's confusing to me. Opposite. Oh, yeah. Okay, opposite. Okay. Now that makes sense. All right, guys. So let's look at this this Mars Pluto square. North node 12 and Neptune. Okay, now I can see that. Wow. So see, Irene, let me just say one more thing about this before we move on. Okay, the North node, if you don't see nothing else on your chart, looking at that nodal axis, did I just use double negatives in a sentence? I didn't mean to do that. If you don't see anything else on your chart, looking at where your North node is, where your South node, okay, everybody listen, wherever this is for you, your South node is always going to be the past, where you came from, your ancestors, the land you come from, and all of the habits, all of the karma, all of the generational pattern is all tied into the South node. This is also where we feel very comfortable. It's like, I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know it's the South, and it's comfortable until it's not, because we get in trouble, because now it becomes also what one person I had a reading. I get readings from people. I love to get readings from people because everybody is going to see the chart slightly different. I had a reading from I can't even remember his name now, but he was really cool. And something that he said was like the South node is like the boat. Say the nodal axis is like the boat. The South, we're carrying the boat. So we can't really get that far. The North is like when we finally figured out to get in the boat, take out all of the past. So this is hard. I'm maybe gonna cry. My grandmother, I don't know her, but I look just like her. I never met her, but when I saw her picture, I'm like, oh my God, we are the same person. Then I learned about her history and her relationships with men and her fertility and all the babies. She had 18 babies. And my biggest problems in my life have been my relationships with men and my fertility and everything that goes along with that. So I see this mirrored, and in my boat, in that nodal axis boat, it's like I'm carrying the patterns, generational patterns, which is normal. We if we're not aware and we don't have any thinking about, like, let's work with our ancestors, let's do this generational healing and checking in our DNA, and we normal. I feel normal people don't do that. It's just every time I talk about it, they're like, "That's weird." So normal people are carrying in their boat the past generational patterns, the gifts and the curses. So to go north, what we need to do, every little thing, take it out, look at it. Oh, this is where this comes from. I'm going to put this over here outside my boat. Okay, this thing. Oh, grandma, you worked in the kitchen and you work with medicine and you worked with spirits. I like this. I'm going to keep this in my boat. You just have to look one by one, and you don't need to know necessarily. Like, I don't know my grandma, but when I feel it, I can tune into it and I can tell what is with me, like what is here, what is with me. And I can decide, put it in or take it out. And the more things you're taking out, the more easy you can go north. So the north node is like where we want to go. It's what we're headed to. North is always going to be, it's the North Star, the true north. And everything on the chart is a directional flow to move us toward north. So Irene, with that 12th house, with the north node there, saying that these things that you said is very uncomfortable, and the new moon is happening in your 12th house, now seeing that you have north node in the 12th house, these things that are challenging for you, and the new moon is here, is a really good opportunity. What I would do if this were my chart, I would read everything I can about the 12th house, the curses and the blessings, the gift and the curse. Read everything about the 12th house. Definitely do your dream work. I think on this channel, I have some free classes on how to, if you don't know something about it, there's a lot. On my Instagram page, I have too much information about how to work with dreams. Everything you need to know is there, and it's called Moon Dreams, and it's under the bio, and they have these little things right here that says, like, I can't remember what it's called, features or I can't remember. Anyway, you'll see it there. It says Moon Dreams. You open it up, you will not be able to get through it all tonight. There's so much information. What's your Instagram? It's spelled the right way, Venus, Venus, gemstone, Gemstone. And I'm saying it like that because there's Venus with 2 S's, there's gemstone with 2 M's. Somebody recently sent me a screenshot. They paid this Venus gemstone with 2 M's like $300 for a reading. Hey guys, I do readings, but I will never ask you, hey, you want a reading? I don't even say it on my YouTube channel, like, don't forget to get a reading with me. I don't ever advertise like that. It's there. You can book any type of reading with me. But yes, the way you spelt it there, Venus gemstone. And then you go to, it's called Moon Dreams. And it's in the little circles that are underneath the bio. You're going to find a lot of good information there. All right, so the seeds you are dropping are food for the people. That's the corn. I'm going to feed so many people with corn. Oh my God, I really needed this guidance with the boat and the ancestors. Perfect. I think I got to quit smoking weed. That would be good with that everything happening in your 12th house right now. Okay, so let's look at this main feature of, we're feeling it now. We're in the energy of this now, which is Mars making a 90-degree angle to Pluto. Okay, so let's go back. We had Justin as his Lord of the Underworld. So imagine, it's just, I'm saying like this because I think people think Pluto and they get a little chill, like, oh, Pluto is so scary. It's not that. Pluto's just a regular like Justin. Have you seen him? He smiles and he's got blue eyes. He's very friendly looking. Okay. So Justin's in the underworld, Pluto. And Pluto has to do with making you be a badass. Like you came here with power. And through your process of being on earth with other people, you're so beautiful, you're so powerful, you have some freaky, weird thing about you that is like nobody else. What do we do with that? In this time, I'm 43 now, in my whole life, if you have something that's sparky that people feel your energy, people at church, your family, your aunties and uncles, they want to don't say it like that. Don't do that. They want you to just go shop at the Baby Gap and dress normal like everybody else and fit in. What Pluto does is like rip your Baby Gap clothes off, leave you naked to be exposed and reveal all the power and beauty that you are. What happens? Everybody's looking, they're screaming, they're like, ah. So you need to learn how to manage that. You need to learn to manage the power of your sexuality, of your emotions, of your money, of the money that's inherited, the money that you get because of your power. You need to learn how to manage all that. And Pluto is going to show you how to do it. How? By taking away your Baby Gap clothes, taking away your regular normal job, not always, taking away anything that you have identified with to the point of, oh, hello, my name is, no, you know what people do? They say, hello, I am Anjani. Hello, I am Ayano. Hello, I am Irene. No, hello, my name is Me llamo S, because this is like Pluto process. And you can do your Pluto process anytime. You don't have to wait for a transit. Getting re-identified with your power, not with your name, not with your job title. Oh, who are you? What do you do? That's how we do it in this country. Who are you? What do you do? Oh, I am, insert name, and I am a lawyer. Not I met somebody in India who was a lawyer, and he was from, I don't know what country, some European country, but he had it. I work as a doctor. My name is whatever his name was. So Pluto helps us to remove all of these things that we've attached our identity to, and that can be challenging. Your name, your house, the work that you have, anything that you feel attached to. So, oh, it's proper. Okay. All right. So now we have a better view of Pluto. Now, Mars. Who is Mars? Mars is a combination of Eros, which has to do with desire, and of Eris, who is the god of war. Now, the god of war is meant to establish a boundary and protect it, and to train others to protect that boundary. So that's Mars. That's going to be the Mars energy. It has to do with establishing boundaries, protecting them. This is peacekeepers. And I don't know what it is about Mars currently, and then maybe it's a distortion. I know that Pluto has a lot of distortions on it. And as I tell this, I'm like, oh, Mars establishes the boundary and protects the boundary. Mars also has high desire for getting it on. It's a fast, freaky kind of feeling. So Mars does contain desire for sexuality. And it's when you put Mars and Venus together, it's easy to see. Venus is more of this like allure. She's like the honey, like drawing Mars in. Mars is like that arrow that wants to go to the honey. So there is some, you know what? Now that I think about it, the protector of the boundary is protecting his wife, his girlfriend, his children. So there is still going to be a sexuality with that. You know, I'm thinking of the movie Troy, the one I really like this movie. Don't judge me, with Brad Pitt. There's so many things that are wrong about it, but I love it so much. It's a very Scorpio movie. But you can tell when the good brother, who is like actually a hero and actually a warrior, that he had his wife and his child. And when he had to leave, he went to go fight the war because he would not ever want something bad to happen to his wife and his child. So he's a warrior to protect that. All right, so now we get this view of Mars and Pluto. Now, they're in a 90-degree, they're coming into this week, and it's exact on July 1st. So I feel, what's going to happen on the 4th of July? Because that energy peaks on the 1st. Something else is happening on the 4th. We'll come back on next week. I can't really remember off the top of my head what is happening on the 4th. But this thing with Pluto, I feel like could either, so it doesn't go one way. It's not like Pluto, the force of power, is going to destroy our warriors. It's not like that. But somehow they're in a challenging alignment with each other. They 90-degree angles to me feels like when you checkmate somebody. 90-degree angles have the same energy as Mars. It's conflict. It's dynamic irritation that makes us have to do something. You can't pick sides, though. You can't pick sides with a 90-degree angle. You can't just go all Pluto and I'm going to just put myself in the compost or put myself in the funeral pyre and like destroy my ego. I'm not going to talk about how I feel about this idea of ego death right now, but you can't do that because it's a 90-degree angles are meant to get you to do something. How you will call this is like compromise or something that is in service to both of these things. And it's new. It has not been done yet. It's something that we don't know until you get into the friction and you have to choose, when you've been in a situation, it's challenging. You don't know what you're going to do until you're in the situation. It's like that. But I am also seeing the potential for fires, for violence. The Pluto's force of regeneration, for destruction, for wanting to dismantle things. And Mars's force of wanting to go full force. Mars has this force of wanting to assert and can be very aggressive and can be violent. So moving through this week, I would say what I'm going to do for myself also, I'm not saying something to you that I'm also not doing, being very aware and noticing where you feel the heat of Aries, the heat of Mars rising through you. Use it for getting your workout on, for your own motivation to establish boundaries, protect boundaries, to clean your house, it's in Aries. So for your own self identification, meaning like to answer the question, who am I? Use that force of Aries to answer that question, and then to have the energy to do things that are for who you are. And you have to find some way. There's something is going to be destroyed in this process because Pluto is definitely about regeneration. Okay, I think I got to quit. Okay, it's proper. Let's see. Taurus medicine is huge right now with tactile and senses. Oh my gosh. This thing with Taurus, I was telling to my son today, because my son and I both have Taurus rising, and he also has his north node at 2 degrees Taurus. So I was like, oh my God, baby, you're about to be in your nodal return. Every 18 years, the nodes will come back to the same place they were when we were born. And it's like a huge advancement in our life. Opportunities for advancement in our life. The one that happens at 18 years old, I feel like it's a good chance to mess it up because you're still really young and you don't know what to do with opportunities. And it's very easy to get into the cycle of, now I'm an adult, I got my own money, I got my own things, and I'm just going to do for me, especially with Taurus. Taurus rising is going to be doing things for the self that are sense gratifications. And because the North Node in Uranus is making a conjunction on August 2nd, we're moving into that right now. We're really having You know what Irene is saying? Irene is saying with the senses. And yes, definitely. And then when you add in Uranus, it's goes to the nervous system. It goes to this is the outside of the nervous system. We can feel, we can see, we hear, but it brings the information in. And Uranus has to do with the nervous system. So I feel like we're all getting really upgraded on our ability to sense things. Like, I don't know if this is happening for you guys, but I feel like the information coming in makes sense to me instantly. Like, I feel very much more, I will say psychic, because the vibe, like I can feel the vibe and it registers and I'm like, oh, there's no doubting it anymore. And maybe it's my age, I'm not sure. And maybe it is the practice and the things I eat and the water I drink and all of these things. But that's really been real for me lately. Okay, this is important what Justin's saying. An out of balance Mars will consume. If it's not contained, it will consume and burn everything in its path. Wow. Wow. The word balance in a sentence with Mars, I'm like, what does that even look like? What would a balanced Mars look like? Mars on itself, I now when I say, I'm like, okay, maybe Mars tempered by the energy of Saturn. Justin, what you're saying sounds like a phrase from the ancient world. Rome creates a wasteland and calls it peace. That makes me so sad. Creates a wasteland and calls it peace. See, that reminds me of balance. Honestly, balance to me seems like you've destroyed everything because in life, my teacher, Seymour Coblin, this person mentored me. He's amazing. What he was saying about the yin and the yang, okay? Everybody wants balance until they have it because it's death. Actually, balance is like if yin and yang ever become like that's why you see the sign like this because it's in a constant motion. And once it becomes balanced, it's because we died. Because there's always a polarity. You know what I mean? If you think about it. Like what the hell even is balance? And I don't know, but hopefully somebody knows and they'll tell me. Justin, tell me, please. Balanced Mars with Pluto looks like justice. I love that. Balanced Mars with Pluto looks like justice. Wow. Death. Somebody's got to die. Mars is called to destroy, to bring balance. Pluto then gets to work in the underworld. Justin, you really know astrology. You were like really, really getting really good at this. The stuff that you say, I'm like, dude, we're speaking the same language. I would agree with you, especially Mars in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn, that 90-degree angle. Something has to happen though. Don't forget that the 90-degree angles say that there's an irritation that's coming up, an itch that will be scratched. And we have to do something. Whatever the scratching looks like, we have to do something. And then when we do something, I bet you're right that it is for justice. Okay, this is coming from the medicine I've been working with. Oh, I got you. I know what you mean. That must be the Neptune chocolates speaking. All right, so what I had hoped to do, it's already been an hour and I'm nervous because I really suck at this and I'm to do it live. Let me see how far I can get. Okay, you guys. So let's start like this, just because it's the chart that I have up. If you have Capricorn rising, that means Aries is in your fourth house and Pluto will be in your first house. So this 90-degree angle, oh my God, I'm already so nervous. Like I haven't even looked at this for my own chart. Like I don't know where is this in my own chart. So with this Mars, Pluto, first of all, Pluto, if you have Capricorn rising, Pluto is in your first house. You've been getting wrecked for like a few years now. Pluto Um, Capricorn rising. I'm trying to think who I know. My daughter has Capricorn rising. So, yeah, getting wrecked, meaning like in your idea of who I am, my own self identity. In medical astrology, the first house is always going to be where you have like your most susceptibility to illness. And with Capricorn, it has to do with your bones, your structure, your teeth, all of these kind of things. So, um, now you put this first house, fourth house. So whatever is happening in this, so we take it down from the mundane astrology. That's what's happening on the world stage. The mundane astrology is like what we're going to see between nations in our own countries. This big overview. Okay, I'm very concerned. What is a 90-degree angle between Pluto and Mars going to do on the world stage? Like how is this going to be react enacted, because you know that they use astrology. The governments plan things based off of the astrological calendar, the movement of the sky. And this is a big transit. So something is being planned and I'm just not exactly sure what that is going to be. So um I changed my mind. I don't want to do this. Unless somebody really, you know what? You guys tell me who wants me to look at theirs. You tell me your rising sign. I feel like this is going to take me so long to go through. But the first and the fourth house definitely is going to have something to do with your sense of identity and what's happening in your own home. And it could also have something to do with what's happening in your ancestry. So I have been mentioning this so much lately because of the fact that the ancestors are always here and they're always in us, like we are them. So for the people with Capricorn rising, this Pluto Mars situation could be bringing about a big death and rebirth, and maybe doing that in a way that feels very assertive, aggressive. You may have this thing that happens sometimes if you're doing ancestor work where you feel like there's a force that's coming that's pushing towards something that you're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm the one here in this body and I don't want to do that. So you may find yourself having to like assert your own boundary in this situation. Oh, hey, Molly, thank you so much for doing that for me, for telling me your rising sign. I'm happy because also I have Taurus rising and I should be looking at my chart with this. With government run by a bunch, should I say this out loud? With a government run by a bunch of 80-year-olds and citizens in unrest, the pattern I mentioned before is possible. We will return to balance. Ancestral work. You know, I get mad at them. Tell me why. Tell me why you get mad at with the ancestor work. I'm really curious. I've gone through phases where I had to remove I had my grandparents on my altar, the ones who adopted my dad, and I was like, I had to get them off of there for it's things will happen. So I'm curious, Melissa, what happens? No, wait, Irene said that. Okay, so for Aries rising, yes, I do have to look at the chart. This is going to put Capricorn in, oh my God, I have Capricorn in my ninth. Why am I looking at this right now? It seemed like I should have it memorized. All right, so Capricorn is in the ninth. And you know what? This has been happening. So everybody with Taurus rising, think about this, okay? Capricorn is in your ninth house. Ninth house is the house of your philosophies, your religion, your it's more like the philosophy of the religion and having to do with like what you will go travel to learn about. It has a lot to do with learning and studying and teaching. And the travel piece, I feel that you travel to go learn something, whether it is to immerse in the culture, because it has to do with long distance travel. So you're going to live there for a while. Why? To learn. Something is changing about what you want to study. For me, I've noticed that my connection with the tantra yoga deities, I'm starting to like change over to, I care more about the four directions and the animals and the plants that associate with the directions and the seasons. And so your philosophies might be changing, people with Taurus rising. And then you put Pluto there, and there is a regeneration process that's happening. I've been noticing like getting me back connected with my own ancestral things. Okay. My ancestors are Mayan and African, and I have European ancestors, but I don't notice them. So I feel like with the ninth, Pluto being in the ninth house for Taurus rising people is doing this regenerative process. Possibly a lot of us have been given the Christianity. Did you hear me? We have been given the Christianity. It was not our thing. We didn't choose this. We were born into it. I was too. And now everybody with Taurus rising, you will have Pluto in your ninth house, which could be doing the regeneration process, regenerative work of composting anything that isn't really for your best, for letting you be most in your power. And then Aries is in your 12th. So, man, thank you so much, Molly. I'm speaking to myself right now, and like I said, I haven't done this. So Jupiter is in the 12th house in a 90-degree angle with the ninth, being your philosophies, your religion, your spirituality. Now you look at that, the 12th house has to do with, I think of this as like the dream. What happens in the dark, in the unknown of your consciousness, is everything. So if I have a dream and something happened, whether I remember it or not, I wake up in a mood, because did not your morning start in darkness? That's what midnight said. Did not your morning start in darkness? That's the 12th house. So for everybody with Taurus rising, this 90-degree angle could possibly be regenerating your own true dream of yourself and your connection with what it is you actually want to learn. What is it that is really deeply connected to who you really are and the power that you come to bring into this life? Aries rising. We'll look at that one next. So people with Aries rising, let's see, that would be the first house. Move that. Oh, it's just one thing over. So look at me. Oh my God. And just move that one thing over. Now that's going to put you to having Aries rising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that the 8th house? Yeah. Yeah. Aries. Okay. So that's going to be the 8th house. So the 8th house, and then 1, 2, 3, and Pisces, and the 11th. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So the 8th house has to do with, push that forward one. I'm not doing this. Molly. Okay, good. Anjani, we love you. No more negative self-talk. What? What did I do? I didn't say no. I didn't do any negative. You better tell me what I did as a negative self-talk. Oh, did I say because I'm having a hard time counting this over? Is that what you're saying as the negative? I don't think so. It's negative. It's really just the truth. I'm like, mathematically, it doesn't register for me, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about. I'm kind of sweating though. Like, how come I can't? I just don't see it. Aries rising. I can't do it. Sorry. All right. Well, everybody, Melissa, hit me up in our Telegram group, and I'll pull your chart up and I will tell you exactly what you have in that house and everything. Yes. And you're like, I can't do it. Well, it's true. I can't. You guys, let me tell you something. You might not know this, but I never, ever, ever was reading astrology like for everybody. Yeah, Melissa, I got you. I never was doing like this, like, oh, go, like my whole thing since 2014, all I've been doing is reading charts for one person. You give me your chart, I'm going to change your life, because I'm going to tell you a story that you've never been told before that's very empowering, and it's specific to you. This, what I'm doing on YouTube, is like me trying to talk to a lot of people when I'm not really that person that talks to a lot of people. You guys, everybody here pretty much, except for Irene, you're not in our Telegram group. And Molly, I'm not sure. I don't think so in the Telegram. Maybe you are. But everybody knows that I'm very one-on-one, and I will, like, even if I just see your chart, I'm like, oh wow, Pluto's transiting your such and such, and you probably have these things going on, and here's some things you can do. And it took me like 5 minutes. I'm really good at looking at an individual chart, but doing this very broad perspective of a thing is like, it's it's not my thing. I don't really super enjoy it because I like mundane astrology. Mundane astrology is basically what I'm doing, looking at what we might see generally overall, and then I try to bring it down to the specifics of your chart. And I really just hope you guys know what houses you have things in. So, oh, you're in the Telegram group. Awesome. Well, I'm happy that we both have Taurus rising, and it seems like maybe you have some of the same things going on that I mentioned with these things, with the transits between Pluto and Mars. Super unique. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Irene. I love all your everybody. Justin, Ayano, Melissa, Molly. Thank you all so much for interacting and spending some time with me today. It's the new moon tomorrow. Normally, on whenever I was doing regular new moon readings, I would give some kind of a ritual to do, some kind of little thing like just something to do that you're engaging your energy with the new moon. But I'm not really doing that here. Join the Telegram group. I might give some kind of a new moon ritual type thing, because my moon is in Cancer, and this is definitely my season. I'm feel very comfortable with that Cancer energy. But anyway, all right, let me close out before I talk forever. Have a great night. Happy new moon, everybody, and I'll see you all again soon.